Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Last time, we unpacked what office politics really is and why you can't completely. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Okay. Last time, we unpacked what of. Hello, so welcome everyone. Give us a minute. Can you hear me? We
Yes.
are live. Okay.
Oh,
So last time, we unpacked what office politics really is and why you can't completely avoid it if you want to lead and grow. But what happens when you realize that you've been too passive or worse, found yourself on the wrong side of office politics without even knowing it? Today, we have with us again Professor Quartey, who needs no introduction, to help us spot the traps, build authentic influence, and recover your credibility if you've made mistakes along the way. So let's get into it. You all know Professor Quartey, president of Monroe County Community College. Thank you, Prof, for agreeing to join us. And welcome back to your platform. Welcome back to your Breaking Through community, where we hold honest, strategic conversations so that we can thrive at home, we can thrive in the workplace, we can just thrive in life. So let me say it again. If you've ever felt like you are playing catch up in the workplace, politics, or wondered how others seem to navigate it so effortlessly, this is the space for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And today we are going to build on the session from our conversation the last time with Professor Quartey. Prof, help me. You are very welcome, but help us recap our conversation from the last time. What is office politics?
well, first of all, Ariane, thank you for having me again. I think this is my third time on here. The last time I think you pre-recorded it. Let me begin by issuing a disclaimer. I am no expert on office politics, but I've been around for a long time. I've been around for a long time and I've been involved in a lot of office politics. And so when we think about this concept of office politics, a lot of us define it as if it's office conflict, but it's not office conflict. The word is not conflict, it's politics. It's politics. And office politics is all the formal and informal interactions, relationships, behaviors within a workplace for any individuals to achieve their goals. And of course, you try to move the organization forward. And that has to do with power dynamics. So it's not only about conflict, it's about anything and everything that's happening in the workplace. And how do you position yourself as an individual to make progress and to move forward within that workplace? And also, how do you move your organization forward as a whole? So that's what we need to think about when we think about office politics. And again, I'm no expert, but I've played it a lot. Okay, it's serious. It's serious business. And there may be a question later about whether you can avoid it or not, but you can't avoid it. It's all part of your daily work. You can't avoid office politics.
Yeah. So recapping from the last time, office politics, basically, you cannot avoid it. It's
You can't.
not avoidable. It's inevitable, if you were to use that word. Okay.
Precisely.
Okay. So, Prof, why is it that office politics has a bad reputation? Bad rep, as we say.
Yeah, because a lot of us, as I said earlier, a lot of us think of office politics as being office conflict. And a lot of times it does involve conflict, but it impacts us all very personally as individuals. So we're afraid of being swept up in the office politics. After all, why do you go to work? You go to work to try to make a living and a life for yourself and your family, right? And if you get
Yes.
involved in any politics that's of a negative nature, it may just overwhelm you, and you may be caught up in this maelstrom. And so a lot of us, to advance our careers, think we can just stay in our little corner, avoid all the negativity and the politics, and it doesn't have to be negative. But we enjoy our safety. And we don't want to be caught up in a situation where we end up being viewed negatively. Let me give you an example of you're in an organization and there are two lateral colleagues, and I've been there, who are arguing about a project. One wants it and the other one doesn't. What do? Well, if you're not the supervisor and one comes to you and says, well, hey, look, why don't you vote with me in moving forward with this project? And the other one says, well, hey, why don't you vote no against it? Well, what do? You're already caught up, right? You go this way or that way. That's why when you go into an organization, you've got to learn the culture. You got to learn where the power lies, right? And in some cases, you may just need to, in this particular case, they're lateral. And what I did was I simply went to the supervisor and talked to the supervisor about the situation, because you go one way, you're viewed negatively by that individual. You go the other way, you're viewed negatively by the other individual. So you need to be very careful, learn the culture, be positive, and just don't get caught up in all the negativity.
Okay, so Prof, I know the last time you said is the interactions, is the behaviors, and the power dynamics, right? And your role is playing it well, playing it safe, playing it clean, so that you can advance in your own career and also support the organization's mission. But tell me, a lot of us, including me, find it very intimidating. And I know that because you said conflict, sometimes it involves a little bit of conflict. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, we find it intimidating because, again, we see it as being conflict. And a lot of times it is conflict. And of course, we can't eliminate that. So what you want to do is, in every situation, of course, when you're in a workplace, you want to make sure that you're viewed as a competent individual, that you understand the culture of the workplace, that you want to maintain your professionalism and avoid all the other negative aspects of the workplace, right? So as you try to play this office politics, you want to ensure that you stay above the fray. If there's any conflict, stay above the fray. If there's any gossip going on, no, don't get involved in the gossip. Are there any rumors around the organization? Don't get involved in the rumors. Check the facts. Check the facts. Remain competent. Make sure that people see you as a valuable member of the team. And if you know where the power lies, that's the direction in which you need to gravitate. And so it's studying your work environment, working with the people around the work environment, getting to know people and getting them to know you. Because if they don't know you, then they may make assumptions about you, and those assumptions could very well be wrong. So what you want to do is get those people to know you first and foremost as a hard worker and as a competent individual. I'll give you an example of an individual, a hardworking individual, and not necessarily around here. I mean, they're around here, but places where I've been. Hardworking individual who would always come in to the office, lock his door, and get a whole lot of work done. But guess what? The complaint was that he always has his door closed and he doesn't interact with anybody around here. That's part of the office politics. So they had this negative view of this person. While the person was competent and could certainly move ahead, it did hold that person back because they weren't interacting in the office with other individuals. Another example is when they have these water cooler conversations, right? And you know what I mean by that, right?
Yes.
Perhaps they're talking about in the DC Baltimore area, I guess it's the Ravens or the Orioles, baseball, football, baseball. It's the Commanders or what have you. And they're talking, or the Nationals, they're talking about that. And you pass the water cooler every time you go in your office. And they make assumptions about you because perhaps you don't understand what they're talking about. A friend of mine from India said what he did when he encountered that situation is he learned enough about those sports Of course, he knew about cricket and soccer, right? But he didn't know enough about he learned enough about those sports and those teams, just enough to be dangerous and enough to be involved in those conversations. That's what he did. And he was able to advance his career beyond the point where he was, because they saw him as a friendly sort of fellow, an individual who would interact with us, an individual who understood what we were talking about, and not someone who would attempt to ostracize himself or remove himself from the conversations that we're having at the cooler. And those cooler conversations are part of the office politics. And you want to be involved in that as much as you can be, not necessarily the cooler conversations, but be a member of the team, right? And the team interactions are not always informal meetings. They may be in informal meetings. So you want to be involved in that also. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
yes. Yes, I think that answers the question about that underscores interactions, how you have defined office politics, that is about the interactions. Now, what if I'm an introvert? I love to stay in my office, in my little corner. I'm thinking about my family, doing my work, head buried in the sand. Do you have any advice or tips?
Yeah. A lot of us are introverts. I'm an introvert, and but I learned to play the game. You are an introvert. You want to hang out in your little corner. It may not be helpful to you. You got to make some friends around the office. There may be one or two individuals that you can interact with, that you become friends with. There may be some others who can perhaps mentor you as you try to grow within the organization. But burying your head in the sand is not the way to go. If you want to be successful at playing office politics and advance in your career, you want to definitely interact with as many people as possible, but learn the organization. And as I said earlier, get those people to know you. If you're an introvert, hide in your corner in your little office or in your little cubicle, how do people get to know you? And if they don't know you, guess what they're going to do? They're going to make assumptions about you. And some of those assumptions may be wrong. And if they're wrong, the next thing you know, you're on your way out because you didn't play the game the right way. Yes, introverts, and there are a lot of us who are introverts. Yes, I'm one myself, but I know at my organization, one of the things that I do, well, it's just coincidental that I happen to be the head of the organization, but I walk around and interact with people informally. Interact with people informally. You go by, you say hi. It doesn't take much to do that. I never ever pass anyone on my campus without saying hello. It doesn't happen here. I don't care if your head is buried in one of these or what have you, but interacting with people, introvert or not, interact with people, get to know them, and that's the way you move your career forward. And I think for me, it's worked. The interaction, even though I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I don't like to speak in public, but it's almost like acting, right? It's almost like acting. You're playing a role. So you switch roles and you play a different role when you get on stage or when you have to do a speech or what have you, even though that's not really you. Burn your head in your office and your paperwork may be the real you. But why don't you play a different role?
So I like that analogy. Like you're playing a role.
Yes, you're playing a role. It may not be the real you. And folks, I think we all know this. Think about it. The way you interact at work is not necessarily the way you interact at home. Some of us may switch, right? I don't yell at people at my office, but I yell at my children at home.
When they misbehave. When they misbehave.
Yeah. But then when you come to the office, it's a whole different issue, right? So you're switching, and your behavior at the office always needs to be professional. Always needs to be professional. I was thinking about, say, if they have an office party, you're an introvert, and your office always has these parties off I was going to say off campus, but away from
Offsite, offsite.
offsite. Right, right. And you're invited, but you never go.
Mm.
Guess what? If you're not at the table, you may end up on the menu. I heard somebody say that. You may end up on the menu. So they're having these parties, you never go, you're invited, but you never show up. Guess what? Yes, they're talking about it. They're saying negative things about it. They come in on Monday, and the next thing you know, someone is saying something negative. Show up at these parties. But I might add, when you show up at these parties or these events, you wanna be the most sober individual in the room. You want to remain as sober as possible. Don't ever let them see you sweat. If everybody else is drinking, don't do even you may drink at home or what have you, right, folks? But when you get to the office, it's a whole different issue. You switch. You want to be the most sober in the room when you go, and don't get up on the table and dance if everybody else is doing it, right? Don't do that. So it's a game. It's trying to advance your career. What you do at home, you don't do at the office. But when you go to the office, make sure you're professional, you're competent, and you play the game to the best of your ability. And if you have to solicit additional assistance from mentors and perhaps your boss and others to help you better play this game, all well and good. That's what you do. And you approach all these situations. What I do is I approach all these situations with humility and let them know that you have some modicum of dignity also. So, and I think I heard someone do a presentation a couple of years ago, and they said that a smile never hurts. Smile. You walk around, don't have that sour face, sour puss, we call it, smile at people. Hello, greet people, smile. All that is part of ensuring that they understand who you are, or getting them to know you and see who you are as a member of the team.
Wow. So you're already moving into strategies and
Yeah.
So a few things, and I'm taking notes, and I hope you're also taking notes if you're those of you on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, by all means, please leave them in the chat and we will address them. Some of the strategies you've given us are very simple, no cost. Say hello, because office politics is inevitable. Go to office parties, but be mindful of how you comport yourself.
Yes.
If you can avoid not drinking, be professional, smiling will not cost you anything, right? And have that humility to ask questions. So this is, you've gone into the behaviors, the interactions. I want you to touch a little bit on, you said learn the culture, learn the environment. So you may have one culture at home, you've said this, how you interact at home may sometimes be very different from how you interact in the workplace. But can you talk a little bit about the culture, learning the culture, how you can go about it? Give us a few strategies so that you are competent, you are culturally competent, as they say.
Yeah. So as part of the culture, I'll give you an example of some places where I've been, where uh, so Monday through Friday, you're working, but Fridays were casual Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we had a person who would still come in on Fridays with the suit and everything else on. Okay. What you're doing essentially is what that person was doing is not really buying into the culture. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They show up with the suit and the bow tie. I'm not talking about.
Was that you?
I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. What? That person is a fuddy-duddy. Why can't they get with the program? You know, they have part of the culture at the institution, for example, could be a day when everybody gets out there and goes out to the ice cream truck or what have you, and you never participate. You learn the culture of your organization, get to know your people, whatever the culture is, get involved in it, but don't over involve yourself. And I don't want to get into all of the advice here, but you always be respectful and create some strong relationships. Okay, but be true to yourself. If and I don't drink when we're having these events just because people are drinking. Don't go there and begin to sip some wine or what have you. But part of the culture is that people do drink in some of these organizations when they have these events. That may be part of the culture, but it doesn't mean that's the caveat here. It doesn't mean you buy into that.
Mm.
Because if you don't do it, you don't necessarily have to be a part of that. It was so you got to be very careful and create some alliances also, but then you can't be all by yourself. Create some alliances, but and I'm getting into the advice here, but don't whatever you do, whatever you do, and I've learned this the hard way. Whatever you do, don't trust anybody. I hate to say it, folks. Don't trust anybody. Don't overshare. Don't go in there. Yeah, so you got problems at home, right? And you go in the office and you have a colleague and you tell the colleague all about the issues you're having with your wife or your husband, right? Don't overshare. Don't. Perhaps you go talk to your pastor about that on Sundays or whatever, Wednesday nights, or you go to a counselor or what have you. But your workmate or your office mate is not your counselor. There could be a mentor. Be careful. A friend of mine told me, he said, don't trust anybody, including me. I thought that was funny, and I don't trust him. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
But you just need to be very, very cautious about how you advance your career. Me, I'm at an age now where I'm in the twilight of my career. Okay, but it's it served me well. And I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, right? As you advance through your career. But I think there are probably some very young people out there who are just beginning, perhaps in your 20s or your 30s.
40s or
Uh,
even 50s.
yeah,
Yeah.
50s. Yeah, or even
60s.
in your 50s. But be professional, be courteous. Kindness never hurts. Always be kind to people. Don't go and play those dirty games. Not play, I'm involved more in, as a community college president, I'm involved more in community politics. I'm involved in a lot of community politics. Okay, when I leave here today, I'm going to be involved in community politics. And you got to be very cautious how you play that. And I remember some years ago, a local individual, this sort of ties in with community politics, who said they wanted to see me. They wanted to see me about something. So they made an appointment to come see me. And when the individual came to see me, I thought it was a one-on-one meeting, but he had one, two, three, five other individuals in tow, and they were all um, individuals of some import in the community. So essentially, I was blindsided. I didn't realize what I was going into. I was blindsided. So you never want to be blindsided. You want to learn as much as community politics, separate and apart from what happens here, right? But it happened to me. I was blindsided, and there will be those around you who will try to blindside you. And again, don't want to get into it, but be careful about what you put on email. Be careful.
Mm.
Be careful. And this what is it? CC your boss and everybody when you send an email. If you have an issue with an individual, what should you do? Talk to the person. If it has to be offsite or whatever, talk to the person. Try to resolve that issue with that individual. Don't shoot off an email and CC the boss and everyone else. That was when I became president here almost 13 years ago, well, 12 years ago. What I said, and I did a seminar on this for my people. I said, look, folks, I don't want to be CC'd on anything that doesn't involve me. Let's stop it. There was a lot of that going on. CC'd and blind copied. That's all part of the office politics, behind the scenes, right?
Prof, I think you are really giving a lot of nuggets. So you've moved into this email thing, and I think a lot of people would want to hear about that. But before you go, can I read a few comments that are coming up?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I will read it from here. There are a number of comments that I've said. I do have a question. What if where your office, let me see. What if you work, okay, what if you work where your office mates are always giving this competition vibe, always acting like they are better than you and more classy? How do I blend in and get along? There are a number of questions, and I would want you to get that. But please hold the email thing because it's an important one.
Okay. So you're in a place where everybody thinks they're better than you are. They're acting as if they're better than you are. Yeah, that's a tough one. But how does the boss, my question is, and I don't, what is it, your office mates or others? Are you viewed as being competent? That's the first question. Are they these other individuals intimidated by you? I think because of your competence. Is it an intimidation, or is it that you're truly not performing, or you're not, performing the way you should? So I think what you do is you check with your boss, you ensure that your boss is on the same page with you, and you want to show your competence. But there are some cases where, I hate to say it, but it may not be the place for you. Okay, you may want to move on, especially if you have a whole gang, if you will, that's against you. But you want to find out why. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? And I know it's not a complete answer for you, but why is it happening? Why is it that, all of us, even if you're at the very top, can be assailed or can be attacked. And if you're at the top, who was it that said that an easy lies the head that wears the crown? They'll attack you all the time. But regardless of what position you're in, there will be those who are oppositional to you. There will be those who simply don't like you for one reason or the other. So this is where the self-introspection comes in, right? You want to, and me as a person of faith, I pray a lot. I pray a lot. You want to pray about it. You want to, perhaps those individuals, you divide and conquer. You talk to each one individually and try to find out why. Why is this happening? Don't get them together as a group. Okay, Joan or John, what is it? And you want to get people to get to know you better. But I think that divide and conquer, if you understand what I'm saying, separate them, have those conversations with them. If you're amenable to that, and get your boss involved, and you go from there.
Okay, there's another comment here. Please, how do I carry myself when I finally gain some level of influence in the office?
How do you carry yourself when you gain some influence? Oh, okay.
Level of influence.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a level of influence. You don't want to get to the point where you think you're better than everybody else, right? You still want to interact with the same folks that you are interacting with. Okay. You still want to interact on the same level, but if you have influence, you don't want to. And I'll give you an example of I have influence, right, at my college. But I walk around and I sit in faculty offices, interact with them. I'll go into classrooms and interact with the students. As I said, I never pass anyone on my campus without saying hello. Never. It doesn't happen. It's what I call the 10-foot rule. I mean, if they're, across on the other sidewalk, right? You're not yelling at them, hello, but be yourself. Be yourself, but make sure you still remain friendly and kind. You have influence. Exercise that influence in the right way, but continue to interact with your people.
Okay. So this is, I would want you to really discuss the email thing because that happens a lot. But there's another question. How about you were on the same level? I'm the same level with my colleagues. We do the office gist and office conversation, we do the interactions, and I get a promotion. And
Yeah,
now I'm supervising them. How do I manage the interactions, the office politics? Because you have defined office politics as interactions, behaviors, and
yeah,
power dynamics.
yeah, yeah. That's that's interesting. I I've been in that situation. You don't change who you are, but you make it clear to the individual that this is the situation. Okay, you want to have a one-on-one with that individual. You see, when you explain situations to individuals, it helps. A lot of times we don't want to talk to people about anything. We don't want to talk to. So talk to that person. Perhaps you take it off site. You talk. Here's the situation. I know I got this promotion. Explain the situation, but I'm still who I am. But at the office, there are times when I have to do this and do this and do that. All right. And I want you to understand that. Communication. Communication. You got to communicate with that individual. And hopefully they'll understand.
Okay. The office emails. So, Prof, have you made any mistakes? Because people can want to relate with any mistakes that you can share with us and how you overcame
Yeah.
that office politics conflict or whatever it was. Do you
Yeah.
mind?
So, yeah. So I'll tell you mistakes. I've made 1.5 million mistakes,
Or
but
lessons learned? Lessons
yeah,
learned.
yeah. So I went into a place years ago, many years ago, beginning of my career, and there were two individuals who were oppositional to each other. They didn't get along. I was the only individual there at that time who had a doctorate, uh, but I was not the boss. We had a boss, but those two individuals were oppositional to each other and they didn't get along. And they tried to draw me into that battle. And I shouldn't have taken sides. My mistake was I did take sides. There was one of them who appeared a little friendlier, and I took his side against the other person. Okay, what I should have done was remain neutral and informed the boss of what was happening for the boss to resolve that. It wasn't my position to resolve. I did take sides. So, and I can't say it was necessarily the wrong side, but don't take sides. Don't do that to the extent that you can. Don't. Mistakes. Another example was sometimes, and I'm not going to get into the emails right now, but sometimes hitting the wrong button, reply all, right? We've all done it, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to reply all, but that's email etiquette there. But I've gone into situations where, or I'll give you examples of situations where there were those water cooler conversations, and I stayed not here, not here. Another organization where I didn't get involved. I didn't learn anything about the sports or what have you. I didn't get involved in any of that. My advancement in that organization was not very rapid. Eventually, I had to leave that organization. But you want to learn the culture, you want to get involved, you want to interact with people. Is that really where you want to be? Ask yourself that. Is this where I want to be? Is this where I want to advance my career? And if I want to be here, do I want to be here for the next 2 months, 2 years, or 2 decades? Right? And you play the office politics very carefully. So my mistakes abound. I can tell stories replete with so many mistakes that I've made, but always I always remain professional. And I've made the mistake of oversharing.
Mm.
You know, something happening in your life, and then you go and you overshare, and the next thing you know, other folks in the office that you didn't say anything to know about it. Be careful. Be very careful about that.
Okay, so are you saying that we can't have a best friend at work or have two
Yes.
close friends at work?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying even with your best friend
At work.
at work, don't tell them all your deep, dark secrets. Don't tell them all your deep, dark secrets, even your best friend at work. You don't want to share all that information with your best friend at work because before you know it, and I've seen episodes of didn't happen in my life necessarily, but episodes of what is it, Judge Judy or whatever, where some of these things that occurred, where somebody sues somebody for oversharing, you know. So you need to be careful about that. Yeah, you can have a best friend. I'm not saying you can't have that, but be careful what you share with your best friend. Why are you at work? To do what? To work. So go there primarily to work. There are times when you can share information with your best friend. I remember, when I was in Baltimore, I worked at a company where one of my best friends, well, where my best friend was a gentleman I worked with. We were both novices, upstarts, but one of his habits in those days was to go out during lunch break. He liked to play Pac-Man. Mr. Pac-Man. So I'd go with him and we'd play and we get so engrossed in the game that we we stay beyond our
Lunch break.
there's another mistake I made, beyond the lunch break. Here we go in, our boss would look at us and say, what are you people doing? You were supposed to be back 15 minutes ago. Oh, sorry. We both didn't last.
Mm.
We both didn't last. And that I'm not talking about oversharing. I'm talking about having a best friend. We didn't last, so we ended up, he had a ping pong table at his house. Then we go after that, after we got kicked out, and go play ping pong. But anyway, but it's you can have a best friend. And he was my best friend for many years until I left the Baltimore area. But yeah, you can have a best friend at work, but be careful what you do when you go to work. Work.
When you go to work, work. I
Right.
like what he said about get with the program or get on the menu. Okay, so let's go to common pitfalls. And I think you started talking about the email thing. I want
Yeah.
you to spend time speaking about the email
Yeah.
situation, as the kids will say, and
Yeah.
how do you, I guess emails are part of office politics, right? Because they're interactions.
Anything you put on email is forever memorialized. What do
Hmm.
I mean by that? You put it on email and it's on that server forever. You can delete it. Anything you put on the internet for that matter. So be very careful and be careful how you respond to these emails. You may have a conflict with someone and they send you a nasty email. And God, I've seen that. I've seen that. Not only nasty emails in my various positions to me, but nasty emails to other individuals, and sometimes you're copied on those emails. It's if you don't have anything nice to say, if it's really nasty, well, I say if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. But if it's a nasty email, you want to memorialize it and copy everybody on it. You got to be very careful about that. One of my pet peeves is too much CCing on emails. You want to avoid that. And then the reply all, be careful about. Be careful what you say on email. If you uh, if you have an issue, and I said this already, if you have an issue with someone, go have a discussion with them. We're all human beings. We're all trying to advance the organization, hopefully, right? Some are not. Oh, well, there's a caveat. There are some who are there only for themselves. And in the process, they may try to sabotage, bushwhack you, waylay you, do whatever, right? So they can advance.
Hmm.
Be careful and learn, people. You got to learn not only the organization, but learn people, interact with the people on a regular basis, learn them before they bushwhack, waylay, or sabotage you, ambush you in some way. You got to be very careful. And there may be those who smile in your face and stab you in the back. I've been through all of this stuff. They smile in your face and they stab you in the back. But in all of this, well, I've got beyond the emails, but as you go through these processes, if you will, there are some situations that you don't want to take too personally. Something happens at work and it's sticking in your craw, as we say in the South. It's sticking in your craw. You're just so incensed about it that you take it home with you, right? You can't sleep. You bring it back with you the next day. You can't function effectively at work, and it begins to affect your productivity and your work-life balance and whatever happens at home, right? Don't take things too personally. People ask me sometimes after, I tell you this is true, after some of our board meetings here, when the community comes and I'm not literally slapped around, but where I am criticized and slapped around, if you will, or what have you. I was saying the other day when people see me the next day and they're probably wondering, are you still alive? Yes. Yes. Yes, because I don't take it too personally. When I get home, I deal with my family. I pray about it, right? And you move on beyond that. Move on beyond that. If you're a praying person, it helps. If you're not a praying person, well, good luck. But don't take it too personally. Some things that happen will eat you up. Don't always take that psychological hurt with you home. Leave it at work and come back to it the next day and try to resolve it at work. But if you have a partner at home who can assist you with it, right, then feel free to share with your partner. Or if you need counseling, go to a counselor. But yeah, I don't know what else.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think you've introduced something new. So with the emails, be careful about CCing people. Who do you need to CC on? Is it necessary? And why are you CCing? I think there are some essential questions to ask. And you also talked about the replying all,
be careful.
because it stays forever. But I think the new concept that you've introduced is that don't take it too personally and move on.
Yeah, yeah, don't take it too personally. I taking it too personally. I think about, and again, I'm a man of faith. You think about what happened to Jesus Christ, right? He didn't take any of that too personally, right? Think about the persecution of Paul and the apostles who came after Jesus Christ, right? They didn't take it too personally. You read the Bible, it tells you, they dealt with the issue, and then guess what? They moved on. We have work to do here, right? And that is to spread the gospel. I'm not trying to preach here, but if I can get an amen, that's good.
Amen.
So do your work to the best of your ability, advance the organization. Don't take it personally. Folks, when something happens, I know some things really hurt. They hurt. When you've been attacked personally and they bring your family into it and your kids are being attacked and all that's happened. It's happened to me. But guess what? You stand firm. You stand firm. It happens. With me, it's not just on campus, it's community attacks. As a community college president, in a community where there's only one college and things are what they are. I was just last week after a board meeting, I was talking to an individual who had been in the board meeting, and they said to me, I was surprised that after that first part of the meeting, you remained professional. You didn't get angry and you kept going. They said they were surprised. Oh, it happened. Set it aside and then do what?
Move
Move
on.
on, do your work. We take things too personally, folks. Yes, it hurts. We're human beings. We all have our challenges. There are challenges with mental health and all of that. We may need counseling after we leave work or what have you. But again, it is what it is, folks. You want to advance. You want to advance your career. What's the most important thing to you? What's the most important thing to you? Is it your career, or is it what somebody said about you? You know. But if it's not true, you need to deal with it. Let people know that whatever they said about you is it's not factual. And
Yeah.
let them know that it's not factual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is some of the dirty office politics that
Yeah.
they attempt to sabotage you so they can move ahead. Right? It all happens, folks. And I don't want to be too negative or cynical, but it is what it is, folks.
Okay. So I think you're talking about playing it smart. You have introduced that thing about not taking it personally and the conflict and the dirty aspects of office politics. I know the last time you said that office politics is not all about
No,
the
it's not.
gossip and all, there's the interactions, behaviors, but there's also the dirty part. And I think
Oh, yeah,
that
there is.
that is the part that people really cringe and feel intimidated. Give us some closing remarks, closing thoughts, closing strategies, or sum it up for us.
Yeah, so office politics doesn't always have to be about conflict. You want to make sure that you know people around your office, you learn the culture, and that they also know you. Make sure people get to know you. You're part of a team if you work in an office. Okay, you can't, and they say there is no I in team, right? Well, just a quick story about, I know we're almost out of time, right? But
Yeah, good.
so Michael Jordan, and everybody knows who Michael Jordan is when he played for the Bulls. He after winning a game, and a reporter approached him and said, "Well, Mike, you didn't pass the ball. You were a little selfish there, but you won the game, and but you realize that there is no I in team." And Michael Jordan said, "Yes, but there is an I in win." Okay, there's an I in win. So yeah, but the bottom line is you're part of a team. If you want your team to win or the organization to move forward, you have to play your part. Be careful what you do or how much you overshare. Keep go to work to work. Keep the personal stuff at home. I've seen people who something happened at home and they show up at the office. And and you look at them, you say, did somebody die? No, nobody died. My boyfriend left me or whatever, right? I don't know if that's, or somebody or what have you. Well, good riddance. But anyway, sorry. But anyway, uh, but geez, keep it at home. That has nothing to do with work. You boohooing all over your computer or what have you. I'm not saying that actually happened. Okay. But long story short, remain professional, be respectful, show some kindness. Don't overshare, don't get involved in the gossip and all the dirty politicking. Okay, all the dirty politics that go on at the office, and go there to do your very best, put your best foot forward, and you will advance in your career. It's made a difference for me. I'm no expert, but this is how
Made
I
a
approached it.
difference for you. And
And take care of yourself, the spiritual aspect, and try to minimize your stress through meditation or anything else. That go home and unload all that stuff. Set it aside. Go do your meditation, and if you need to consult a colleague outside of work, do that. But focus on your well-being. It's all about you and your well-being when you leave, right?
yeah,
Keep
yeah.
it all in perspective.
Yeah. Keep it all in perspective. Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. Don't
In
let the office kill you. After, if you have a heart attack and die, guess what? They'll hire somebody else to
exactly.
take your place. That office will still be there with or without you.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way early in my career. Thank God I haven't had any heart attacks. But I thought I was in an organization where I thought that without me, the organization couldn't survive. So I worked 16-hour days and 18-hour days, and I took my work home with me and would show up at the office at 2 a.m. in the morning. I mean, this is true. You know, I was doing all the work. I was trying to run all over the country and present papers and publish. Oh, what the heck? What about your well-being? What about that life-work balance? Because of the process, you could lose your family and lose yourself.
Yeah. So the interactions, the behaviors, and the power dynamics,
Yeah.
taking care of yourself, knowing how to
Gotta take
behave,
care of yourself. Take
being
care of yourself.
professional.
Yes. And don't take whatever happened at the office home with you unless you can talk to somebody about it at home. You can talk about it, unload it, and don't take whatever happens at home. If it's a major tragedy, we understand that. But don't take it in the office with you. If you need to call up on the next day, do that. Do that. But don't let everybody see you sweat when you go back to the office. You know, don't let everybody see you sweat. You don't want to show all your weaknesses, right? We're all humans. We're weak in one way or another, right? But be careful what you do around the office.
If you have any comments or any comments, questions, emojis, please put them in the chat. Prof, we can sum up and say that office politics isn't something we can avoid, anyone can avoid.
Can't avoid it.
It's
Whether you like it or
unavoidable.
not.
You cannot. We say
Yes.
it, you cannot. Whether we like it or not, we are all, if you are working, or even into wherever there's any interaction, business, your own business, there is politics, right? But it's absolutely, absolutely essential we navigate it wisely. How do we do it? How do we lead with strategy? How do we interact with integrity, the right relationships? Get to know the organization, get to know the culture, let people know about you. Don't stay in your office or your cube with your head, proverbial sand, your head down in the sand. Let people know you, build your reputation, build your influence, have a mentor. You said a lot of things. Know the culture. And so this is it. I don't know whether you have any parting words, but if today's conversation has given you, I hope today's conversation has given you something to think about. Please join us in subsequent sessions that we will have. Please, of course, subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and hit the notification button so that you can be informed of upcoming events or new videos that we record. Prof, any final comments before we sign off?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Marion, for the opportunity to talk to these individuals out there. And maybe some of us out there who are immigrants who feel intimidated, but especially in this day and age, right? But own it.
Own
Okay.
it.
This is a nation of immigrants. Own it. I wanted to address that. You want to own it. You want to be, you're here legally in a nation of immigrants, right? And this nation was built by immigrants. So don't apologize for that. This nation was built by immigrants, and without immigrants, this nation would not be what it is today. So let's go forward and let's go make a difference, not only here in our within our families or within our communities, but within the nation, and also for those who are immigrants globally. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see emojis in my other screen. Prof. Quartey, President of Monroe Community College, thank you Monroe County Community College, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the insights, the definition, breaking down office politics for us. So my question to you, which of today's insights or strategies spoke to you the most? Drop it in the comments. And until next time, keep leading boldly, keep being professional, keep being kind, navigate wisely, show up, be at the program, show up. Don't be on the menu, show up. Show up like you belong in every room you step into. And thank you for joining. Thank you to all of you, my Breaking Through community.
Thank you.
See you again next time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I can't see the comments, so I don't know.
We will have to go into you can we can
Okay.
check from YouTube.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
no problem.
But thank you, everyone. Today was the first time we've live streamed to YouTube, and so thank you so much for participating and joining us. We look forward to future conversations here in our community, Breaking Through community. On that note, have a good Saturday.